It's just preparing it. So just hang on a second. Hi, Doug.
Megan, how are you?
I'm great. How was your week?
It was good. I mean, it was pretty much the week of the virus again. You know, every day's the same. It's the Groundhog's Day, scenario. You wake up and you can walk around all the time with your calendar just to make sure you're on the right day of the week. Or it doesn't really matter. The nice thing about this, we're not going through this alone. We're not all by ourselves. You know, there's a whole bunch of people doing it with us, and they're experiencing exactly the same things that you and I are. You know, we're
Absolutely.
so used to being scheduled and timely and on time and very uh, planned, well planned as far as the week went, the day went, and those are all out now. And because people miss a Zoom call or there's all these interruptions because you know the reason why there's so many interruptions now because that's all that's going on now is people on social media or at least on this platform and I know there's occasionally drivers and I know California you're never going to get on a road and you don't have a traffic jam, but it's amazing. I just amazing to see how much over these last few months has changed just in terms of traffic and participation. And some businesses are doing very, very good, and other ones aren't doing as well. And I think I was telling you, having been an owner entrepreneur in the fast food business, it's very unstable to think about your friends out there that are really struggling right now, not only to try to produce an income or a profit, but also trying to get employees. This whole situation, who would have thought that you would have a problem trying to get employees? But there's all kind of things going on in our country right now that, for whatever reason, forget about, lumber and all those other things they talk about, being a scarce commodity. How about labor? There's
Oh,
nobody.
it's funny. It's funny you say that because I have things to do in BeverlyHills.com, and all of my clients in Beverly Hills that are on things to do in BeverlyHills.com, they talk about how it's hard to find employees and workers because it's just it's hard to find people basically.
Yeah, and some things, that, especially like that, for example, and you can still get goods and services if you go and wait in line or, maybe going inside a store isn't, even though, it seems like a lot of states are trying to adopt a more aggressive approach in terms of servicing America. There's still an element out there, and God bless them, very, very careful and cautious. Put your mask on. Don't get near me. I don't want you sitting on the same seat I'm sitting on. Uh, it's hard for our country to really achieve what it could possibly do with all those things in place. So you can't get everybody on board. How many times now do you to watch television and you hear the new variant is attacking the country? Look out, it's going to come in the middle of the night. You're going to be sleeping in your bed, not even know it, and it's going to pounce on you in the middle of the night. I'm going, scare, scare, scare. And really for all the people out there that own a business, I truly feel for them because I'm in that same situation. I've got a stake in something that's open service, serving customers and retail goods or services. And you just don't know what's coming around the next Monday or the next Sunday. And why couldn't a governor or a mayor get in front of everyone else in front of a press conference and say, that's it, we're closing it down? Or worse yet, having been in a lot of businesses that really require a incredible amount of performance in terms of sales, that last 10 or 20%, Megan, you and I talked about this, is the difference between success and failure. And I
100%.
mean, literally closing your doors. I mean, because you can't make it happen. It's not that much fun to run businesses when you can't make a profit. I mean, we're not here like it's not the
I've
playground.
done that.
I've done it too. I've done it, but not very long. I quickly made decisions. We can all get in that rut, but then we have to make decisions. But the same thing is true in our life. I've really, missed out on a lot of friends and associates that I had over my life. And it's been very difficult trying to just connect with them. So, there's almost like an hour every day. This is the connection hour. I get on my phone, on the computer, and I reach out to people that I haven't spoken to for months, years. And it's amazing. It's like a payback. Some of them, I'll be honest with you, start crying on the phone. It's that dramatic. And I do too.
That was the last call that I had. That's why my nose is a little red, because that was the last call I had, like I told you earlier. But I get it. Yeah. But being an inspiration and reaching out, why they cry when you call, Doug, because you were a positive influence on their life and you did great things for them. And they're super glad to hear from you. And that's what it's all about. That's what you and I do. That's why it's just you and I. That's who we are as people.
Yeah, I think it truly makes a difference. And if we can bring an element of that to our life in whatever we do, wow, there's always things that come along, which you and I just talked about, that you have to just get through, financially. Yes, it's negative cash flow. You're not making money, you're losing money. But you know what? That's all part of being a success. Realizing that you don't want to do that for weeks and months and years. There's nothing wrong with falling down, but get back up and say, wow, what just hit me? This happened to me all the time in football. I'm running around the football field. I'm looking at the quarterback and the receivers. Suddenly it feels like I just got ran over by a truck. Bam! And the next thing I realize, I'm kind of coming to my senses on the ground or looking at the sky thinking, what just happened? I just got my butt kicked is what happened. And I wasn't paying attention to everything else. I was locked into one single thing. We can't do that. I know there's a lot of public speakers out there. You got to focus. You got to eliminate all these distractions and all that. No, I think it's important. You got to keep all these things in mind with whatever you're doing, socially, professionally, because it's a hard thing to balance sometimes. But like I said, being on a football team, especially with 11 other players, and then there's 11 on the other side. You got to watch all of these guys. And really, I truly had to watch linemen and receivers because they told me what they were going to do by their body language. So, but the same thing is true with what you and I do, with businesses that we're involved in. I'm always interested in seeing someone's body language when I suggest or recommend something to see whether they're excited about it or we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Or even the times, you're in front of your crew or your employees. And I did this many times when I was operating fast food restaurants, and I would announce some new program we were doing. And sometimes it was unbelievable. Everybody was clapping, yelling, yeah. I had a program where all the families for several weeks, different weeks, could come in anytime and eat for nothing. That was a huge hit. In fact, it really, really helped me retain employees because, most places have free meals when you work there. Okay. When you work at the place, you can get a free meal.
Yeah.
But everybody loves this. Why can't I expand it? Why can't I expand it? Say, not only you, and first I did it.
I got to throw in really quick. My daughter started working at a pizza place, right?
Yes.
She got promoted to be the manager. And
wow.
You're right. She's like, you want a free pizza? I can give free pizzas to my family members.
Well, and that's
keep working there.
Right. It's an amazing little thing. It's a little perk. But how many times you and we've worked a job or something, and they did something for us. They gave us an extra 5 or 10 minutes on our break. They helped us out. Instead of paying 50% for our meal or whatever the products were at the store, they allowed us to get a product free, a week or a month or whatever. And but that free meal thing at the restaurants, man, that was huge. And if they liked it so much, I thought, I got to expand it. I'm going to expand it to the families. So I did that. So I had mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters come in 24/7 and eat whenever they wanted to. And one of the employees we had,
show their ID, or how did you verify?
We got to know them. Honestly, it's just like they just walked in. Hi, how you doing? What do you want today? We didn't say, hey, listen, here's your grocery bags. You want 100 Whoppers? No, we gave them, it was like one sandwich, one fry, one drink, and the dessert if you want some kind of ice cream or something. Yeah, you couldn't have them come in with a busload of kids and go, here I am, and these are all my friends. Get ready to get the free food up. And so anyway, but when those family members would come there and eat for nothing and show up 24/7, and you have a family member suddenly decide he doesn't want to work there anymore, well, all those benefits go away. Other family members were coming in saying, no, Johnny is not going to quit. He is making a big mistake. He's coming back in today and he's going to ask you if he can have his job back. That's one of the parents one time stood at the front counter. I go, man, my program is working. They're not even letting family members quit this place. So, but it's the same.
I love that story.
Same thing with us, with people that we deal with. I mean, I'm not saying we have to give something free. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a hamburger. It could be free information or free knowledge, or I've collected a whole.
Well, it's like what I do on the Soaring Summit. I give out tons of free information from 37
exactly
all over the world. Like free
right.
That if people take initiative and watch and listen, it'll change their life because they're extraordinary people. Well, and you're on the summit too, so you.
Yep, I've had people call me before, and I always get information every week, letters from fans. And some of them are just, hey, can you please sign my whatever, my underwear or whatever? Yeah, I don't do that anymore. It has to be a football, or it has to be some kind of a thing that associated with the game. All
right, so note to everybody out there, Doug will no longer sign underwear.
Yeah, no.
Stop signing underwear. That's funny that you actually signed underwear.
You know what's strange? Being like at a signing place, and this has happened a lot, and people will come up and they'll partially pull back their clothing and say, can you sign this? Really? I mean, there's a whole bunch of people looking at me with their cameras, taking cameras of me. I mean, I'm kind of a crazy person.
Okay, that's kind of weird, right?
That's weird. I mean, in front of everybody else, it's just, that was
so
weird.
Just for the record, what's the weirdest thing you ever signed?
Number one, I would not sign any undergarments while they were on a person.
Oh, okay.
I've had a few people send me something that was not on their person. It was in a box or package. I'll sign that, not like I was here, Doug Plank. No, I'm not going to sign that.
You're so funny.
But, I try to make it as much, like all the things that I have here, I've collected football. I mean, I've done a lot of things, the 9 years of pro coaching, the 4 years at Ohio State, the 11 years of coaching, 12 years of coaching. You collect a lot of shirts, footballs, helmets. I'm down to almost nothing now, Megan, because when people write me something and they go, can you please sign my bubblegum card? I've been a fan for life. And, I found your card, at the bottom of this box. You know what? That's a true fan. I mean, I go, you know what? And I go back to my room of collectibles, the helmets, jerseys, and I pick stuff out and I send it to these people. Yes. Now, I got to tell you, it is so dramatic sometimes. Sometimes I don't even hear from them. Other times, because I write my email and address on or phone number, I go, hey, I want to hear about what happened. Like tears started. They call and they're like overwhelmed. Like, Doug, I just opened the box. You just completely shocked me. And by what you included, what you sent. You know what? To me, I don't know. There's certain things in life, Megan, we're all running out of time. Anybody that's over 50, you never thought about, expiration.
Hey, so I'm 50 today, but tomorrow I'm 51. I'm 51 tomorrow.
Wow.
And I'm so proud because I feel like I'm 30, but I'm 50 tomorrow.
That's important too. I mean, it's like taking care of a car. If you never change the oil, you never change the tires, I'm sorry, it's not going to last 100,000. It's going to get thrown off. It's going to blown off the road or something, or something's going to misfire. And then you're going to make it worse by you're going to run into something. And wow, that's congratulations. Yeah. You're a very, very young person to someone who's in their 60s. And
I'm only like 18 years behind you. So it's not like it's that big of a deal, right? Because you're 68. I'm only 18 years behind you. And when you're 50, when you were 20, 18 years was like light years, but then when you're 50, 18 years is not that big of a deal.
you think about that. And I told somebody that. I said, you know, when I was growing up there was a playground right where we played my house growing up. And, you know, I used to get on there all the time up until like 12 or 13 years old. But that was such a big deal. But it lasted like a summer sounded like it was a decade. You know why? Because you had no relativity of time. You know, you were 9 or 10 or 8 years old. And a year was a big part of like 10% of your life. Well, now what is a year? A year, I don't even want to tell you what a year is now in my life. It's
it's like a week. Like a week
of my life. And, you know, so you're always thinking, you know, when you're young, you think about the beginning. When you're getting older, you think about the end. No, you know what it is? I still think about that movie with the bucket list. Hey, you know, I'm getting ready to put a bucket list together and, you know, do things that.
Oh, that's so funny you say that. I got to show you something. Look at my book. You're so funny you say that because look at what I write in every day.
Wow, it's the truth. It really is.
I do, and I do it with my fiance, and I'm a big advocate of the bucket list. And you can see sheets of paper in there, but I'm a big advocate of the bucket list. You got to write it down because if you don't write it down, it's not going to happen.
Honestly, that's it.
I'm super focused. I mean, you know me, Doug, because we work together. You know me, I'm really focused. But yeah, the bucket list is a huge thing, and you got to write it down to make it happen. And if you write it down, it will happen because you focus on it. And when you put something on paper, it makes your mind think.
Absolutely right. You know, I compare it to, you know, and especially I'm in my 60s. I don't have the memory I used to. I just laughed because I went to one of those NFL, let's go to the hospital and see if you still have things in your body that are still working and stuff. And one of the things they do is on your memory because all that CTE and concussions and stuff like that. And
I'm dying to know. What do they say?
Well, they did one test on this short-term memory. There's some area of the brain that, you know, that operates your short-term memory.
Uh-huh.
And so I did these tests, and they were all kind of electronic tests. Some were questions and answers. Some were like sending waves through my brain. I have no idea what that was all about. I was hearing, so like after 30 minutes, they come in and go, Doug, you're like in the top 5%. I'm going, oh, I can't wait. I'm in the top 5. You're in the top 5% of people that have a vacuum in this area of your brain where your short-term memory should be. I go, what are you talking about? They go,
what does that mean?
That means I'm in the lowest 5% in terms of retention. They said, you ever have an Etch-a-Sketch, you know, screen when you were young with the red and the buttons and you wrote stuff and then you flipped it over? That's kind of like what you are. When you come in here and sit on the couch.
Okay, that's horrible.
I know it's horrible.
That's horrible.
Here's my point. You mentioned about writing things down. I write everything down. And, you know, it helps me so much in my retention. I don't really care what they tell me because I know what my capacity is. I know what I can do. I know the alphabet backwards. I know I can do NFL games with 50, 45, 50 players on a team. I know I can remember their positions, where they went to school, what their height and weight were, what they majored in college. How much stuff you have to know? Do I know how to put together, you know, the space shuttle? No, I don't know how to do that. But my brain and my capacity meets what I'm trying to do here on a day in, day out basis. And it's the other thing too. Haven't you ever met some really, really talented people that really aren't using their talents? They don't take advantage of it. It's like having a whole closet of clothes and you never wear it. You wear the same thing every day. You know, you get on your white underwear and a white shirt and, you know, blue jeans or something. You go out in the house. Really, you're not being the person you could be. You got a whole closet full of clothes there or books. I love going into these places where the guy has like 3,000 books. You know, I go, when is the last time you read a book? I go, and here's what I tell them. You know, people that don't read are no worse off than people that can't read. And it's true. I mean,
you know what? That is really a great comment. What you just said is a really great comment. People that can't read and people that don't read, they're the same.
They're the same. They're the same. And Why wouldn't you want to do something? And I realize some people aren't in an employment mode. They're not trying to get hired or go someplace. That's too bad. It's the whole thing. One time, I had a coach tell me, Doug, you can graduate from whatever, junior high, high school, college, but you never stop learning. And that stuck with me the rest of my life. You're always learning. You never graduate. It's.
Oh, that reminds me, just for the record, I'm moving my son out to Tempe in August. So I'll be there the 10th through the 14th. So you and I can have dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, there's nothing like, personal contact. And I think even, watching the news and watching people that, are knocked off their normal habits of activities, of visiting with people, I think that's very important. I mean, I think establishing a bond with another group, another person, it's big. It's because I think it's all part of that whole scenario where you feel comfortable with who you are, your friends. I tell people, someone asked me the other day, Doug, what do you attribute to your success or accomplishments in life? And I said, surrounding myself with more talented people than myself. It's true. I'm serious. I learned something every day. And these guys were so motivating and so energetic. Man, I'll tell you what, it was like, I'm like shaking. I don't even know why, because I need to do something. I need to go someplace. I need to read something. I need to acquire some new skills. And, the nice thing about it is you can't fake people out, Megan. When you sit down with them and you're having a conversation about something, if it goes in an area where you're pretty much an expert and they're out here blowing smoke at you, like you can tell they have no idea what they're talking about. Some of the worst things I had to do in my life was interviews when I was a sports player with the Bears with a reporter that absolutely knew nothing about football and said, Doug, it must really be fun to go out and play football. Could you tell me what it feels like, running onto the field?
That sounds like something I would say.
It's not the start of a great interview. That is just hard hitting.
I would say.
Oh, I just ran out and I was so happy and I was just looking around. It was such a fun. I mean, right away. Well, my point is, when you're having conversation with other people, same thing is true. They're reading you. You're a person that's had a background in real estate. You could tell immediately, whether somebody doesn't know, whether to go up or down the stairs, or it's like, oh, this is definitely a rookie. So asking questions that are really not a veteran person would ask, and so that's all part of, I think, doing what we do is always trying to stay sharp and up to date, and what's going on in our market.
Well, speaking of that, so because I've been like in anticipation and like thinking about you every week. Did you pass? When are you taking your test? So you finally passed your test?
Yeah, the nice thing about Arizona, there's certain tests I'm in the process of passing, passing. I'm going to be passing a 2 licenses.
You're going to
pass. For life insurance and health insurance. And you might go, well, why are you 68 years old? Are you wanting to find out a lot of information?
Because you're driven. You're driven. You never give up. That's right.
They go, yeah, I'm trying to pick out the right casket, and with that life insurance, what kind of.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere until I have dinner with you and Nancy in August.
But you know what?
The other thing is, we just have to apologize to all of our listeners and viewers, because you and I have not been on schedule, because I've had family, you've had family, you've been testing, I've been doing the Soaring Summit. So I just want to apologize to all of our viewers and our guests that Doug and I will be consistent every week, but we just, family for Doug and I is extremely important. And so we put that before we do anything. We love family.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's true, because you have to put your life in order and say, okay, what's really important? What things can I maybe, delay?
They're going to die if they don't see our podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited though. I still think that, there's a lot of great things out there. And, I had a lot of my friends that getting back to this, like, the day's over, you turn it off, you turn the switch off, you go to bed at night, whatever, everything gets shut down. Well, there's a lot of people, Megan, in our lives that maybe they leave a job or they leave a profession. Like all the guys that I know in professional football, NFL, some guys just took off. They like launch pad right after that their career was over. Other players felt like it's over. I don't have to do anything. I'm going into retirement mode. They may have some money saved, but you know what? That goes fast. Not only can you spend it, your family can spend it, your relatives can spend it. There's always something, hey, can you lend me? You got to learn what a loan is and what a donation is. And you got to say, is this a loan or a donation?
Well, it's so funny. My kids are obviously 16, 17, and 18, but my kids will call me and say, can you borrow me $10? I'll pay you back on Friday when I get my paycheck. And I always balance, so when their paycheck comes on Friday, I never get the $10 back. So I just think to myself, should I call them and say, I need my $10 to learn and teach them about borrowing and lending? Yeah. But then, as a mom, I'm like, it's $10. Should I call them on it? Like, what would you say about that? Like, because you've been a dad longer than I've been a mom. What would you do? Like, if you're I want to borrow $10, yeah. I'm going to pay you back on Friday. You send them $10 and then you don't get paid back. Would you call them on the carpet and say, dude, you didn't pay me back? What would you do?
I would probably offer that scenario I just did there. Could the next time you ask me for money, could you please tell me whether it's a loan or a donation?
Okay. I love that phrase.
You don't even need to even discuss with the, I've had situations where people have called me back and apologized, quickly paid me back. Other situations, I've never heard from the person again, ever. It's been gone. I go, okay. I mean, I think that's a fair question. I think that's reasonable. I think that's being fair-minded, and that's
You know what though? That's a really good point. What you said. So it's upfront. Is this a loan or a donation? And so you need to have the kahunas to say, okay, you know what? It's actually a loan. It's not a donation, or it's a donation. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a good way to put it, because as a mom, $10, is still $10. And like you and I both know, as I spoke to you, $10 with the people I spoke to this morning in Uganda is like $1,000, right? So $10 is a lot of money, and you got to respect the penny. And so that's what I'm going to do in the future. I'm going to say, okay, don't say you're going to pay me back. Just tell me, is it a donation or a loan for $10? Because I'm just glad it's only $10.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess from my standpoint and how I process this, it makes it easier for you to tell me it's a donation. I go, okay, I'm not expecting it back. Or when you and I talk or meet or whatever,
don't have to worry about it.
I'm not running the loan through my brain every 30 seconds. He borrowed from me. He never paid me back. He borrowed from me. I don't know. It says something about our character. And, because I've been in situations like that where, anytime I had the loan, I would say something along the lines, I don't know if I can pay you back in the next days or weeks, but I'm telling you, I'm going to pay you back. And
I've definitely been in that situation where I guarantee you I'm going to pay you back, but it's late.
Yeah. And you know what? It's okay. I mean, because, if they tell me that, I know that, they haven't forgot about it. They're making an effort to do it, and, it'll happen. I just think that's, we have to be very careful with our family and friends and things like that, because, we value those relationships. And, I think something like that is kind of like a slap in the face. And it all depends on how big it is. If it's under $100, I probably will forget it myself, in terms of, having somebody pay me back or whatever.
Because you're on the top 5% of memory. I'm messing with you. Okay, you need to reverse the psychology of that. They told you you were in the bottom 5%. You need to reverse and say you're on the top 5% and start manifesting that in your brain.
Yeah. You know what? And like I said, I was one time I was stopped by a police officer, and I had, sometimes yellow, it's green, it's yellow, it's red. Okay, I went through it with yellow, and he didn't give me a ticket or anything, but he pulled me over, and I go, he said, have you been drinking? And I go, would there be any reason that you would ask that question? He goes, yeah, you went through the intersection on yellow, and you didn't quite make it all the way through when the red light came on. And, then he goes in and goes, could you please, dictate the alphabet backwards? Well, you know what? How many times, can you tell me?
I could never, if somebody asked me to do that,
I'm telling you,
I could not do it.
How many times in class have you been taught in
Never.
high school, junior high, college?
I could never have done that.
You ever say, listen, our next assignment is the alphabet backwards. I go, okay. Then you go through it, ZYX, ABC. I mean, so all of a sudden it just starts rolling off your tongue. And, but I'm thinking that was kind of odd. It's like,
believe you did it.
Yeah. Would that be the ultimate test? I mean, how about getting out and walking, walking a straight line? And I don't even like walking a straight line with two artificial knees. That's not the greatest.
It's so funny.
It's just.
I just got to recap. So you're totally good always. And then they ask you, like, what police officer asks you to do it backwards? That's like, even when you're like, even if I sitting here today, if you said, Megan, give me the alphabet backwards, I could not do it. Z,
Y, X, W, V, S, R, Q, P, O. Yeah, it starts rolling off your tongue. You start learning it like ABC, E, you know what I'm saying?
But why did you ever learn the ABCs backwards, Doug?
Well, you know what? I just started pronouncing it. I started reading it off as he was asking me. I go, okay, X, Y, Z, Z, Y, X, W, V, U. So I just kept starting methodically, just kept running. He goes, okay. After that, I'm serious. He said, okay, just be more careful or something, cautious. I go, officer, I was going to the airport like everybody else, trying to pick somebody else up. You're in a hurry. And I apologized, and really one of the nicest officers I've ever met in my life. And he just said, okay, just be a little more careful. Didn't have me, do a breathalyzer or nothing like that. And, but I'm just thinking, you know what? It goes to another example. Be prepared for anything. You don't know we always were taught this in football and sports, train for everything. It might not ever come, but you're still going to be trained for it. And, I think a lot of that is true in life. You don't know what is around the corner, what expectation is going to be confronting you, but at least think about it, give it some thought, and be prepared. And,
and that goes on, because I know I know you have a bunch of stuff you have to still do today. So I'm just happy that we're back live, and we'll do live again next week.
I love live.
I love live. I love live because me and you, and I love live. I'm with you 100%. So we'll I know you have to go and finish up for your health and life exam.
Yeah, that's right.
And we got to get that done. And so next week, all of the listeners and viewers will be excited to hear about your results. But I know you got to go get that done. And so, but anyways, we got to keep doing it live. I think live is the best. And right now we're only on YouTube, but I'll set it up this week where we're live everywhere, LinkedIn, what I mean? I'll figure that out and I'll set it up for us, because I think people would like to see us live everywhere, because they like the live YouTube, but let's just take it up a notch. But you and I have been practicing here for just a couple of months. We started this, in March? Yeah, March, April, May. Yeah, so I mean, we've gone like light years really fast, but now we got to kick it up a notch, me and you.
I got it. Well, listen, I got plenty of topics we can go attack.
Oh, we can talk forever, and you got a million topics. You can talk forever. You have so many great stories.
You know what? Honestly, I'll say this. I've forgotten things that aren't important in my life that I haven't learned from. The things that taught me something, Megan, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to forget it? I remember back to my 8 and 9-year-old years, because those things were impactful. It made a difference in my life. And you don't just go through life and just not pay attention. I mean, learn from your lessons. to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, is not
Well,
good.
you get back to studying. You get back to studying, and then I'll see you here next week again, and then we'll expand it to the other networks.
Okay, sounds very good. Can't wait.
Appreciate your time. Have a super Saturday. And hey, for all of our listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. Please check us out on snspodcast.com. Follow Doug Plank. You can just follow him anywhere, Doug Plank 46. Follow him on Facebook. You can always find me, Megan Johnson-Zucaro, anywhere. But follow us, and always feel free to email, text, call. Doug and I are really open. We're like down to earth, and text us, call us, and we're glad to help out.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think I'm available 24/7. And
don't say that. I've said that before and it got me in trouble. We're available from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m.
No, it's the old telemarketer. You cannot call before 8 o'clock in the morning. You can't call me after 9 a.m. Otherwise, you're violating the telemarketing rules of this country.
No, so I have my phone.
What a warning for everybody.
I have my phone on notification. Unless you're my children or my fiance or my parents, my phone doesn't ring until 7 a.m. because otherwise it'll ring. And then it stops ringing at 10 p.m. So my personal hours are 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
That's amazing. My phone number, it has a 404 area code. And I have to tell you, I get more calls from Atlanta than anywhere else. Now, I don't live in Atlanta. I was a coach down there for 4 or 5 years, but I don't live in Atlanta anymore. I mean, I get calls from everybody.
Well, that's the East Coast, and you're in Arizona, and so it's a difference.
I got more 404 numbers. I mean, especially, it's crazy how things go. And but that's okay. You can still call me. I just, there's a few people I still go down there.
Doug and I are going to be more consistent on doing it live and expanding it live. So we will see all of you next week. And thanks for tuning in with Doug and I. And, if you have questions for Doug specifically, email Doug, text Doug, find him on Facebook. You can find him on Facebook in a heartbeat. And if you have a specific questions for him, please reach out. If you have something you want to ask me, I don't know what you want to know from me, but whatever you want to ask me, you can find me, and I'm glad to answer too. And so Doug and I look forward to see you guys every week live like this. And we always try to keep it like 20 minutes, so it's not too long, but it's a ton of fun. And the reason we go long is because Doug and I can talk forever together because we both talk. So Doug, I'll see you next week.
All right, Megan, look forward to it. Can't wait.
Hey, knock them dead on that test.
I will. Thank you.
Get back to studying.
I'll be a proud licensed agent here. I'll have it hanging on the wall.
I love it. I want to see it. I want to see it next.
Okay. All right. I can promise it's going to be here. It's going to be here.